We're here today with musician A.J. Croce, son of the late Jim Croce, as A.J. is going to be on the road for the Croce Plays Croce, Where the Song Book Ends, the Story Begins tour. He's coming to Minneapolis October 3rd at the Pantages Theater. A.J., how you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for joining me.
Hey, thanks for having me.
You bet. I know you're hitting the road here for Croce Plays Croce, Where the Song Book Ends, the Story Begins. Can you tell the listeners a bit about the show? What are we in for?
Wow, this show is so much fun. It's constantly evolving, and you know, it's this beautiful connection between a father and son. It's a story of the music that is, I know, nostalgic for a lot of the people. We're going to play the hits. We'll play the deep cuts. I take requests every night for the deeper cuts that people love and maybe want to hear. And so every show is different. My band is phenomenal, and the singers are great. And it's just one of those experiences for me as a performer that gets better and more interesting all the time.
And you'll be in Minneapolis here October 3rd at the Pantages Theater. You mentioned your band. Who's on the road with you this time for the tour?
Well, David Berard is on bass and singing background vocals. He's out of New Orleans. He was with Dr. John for almost 40 years, and Etta James and the Nevilles and B.B. King, and that's how we met, because we had a lot of overlapping gigs. I was out with B.B. King and Etta James and a number of other folks that he worked with, the Nevilles, of course. And on drums, we have a new member, Pete Abbott, who you might have seen or heard with Average White Band or Blood, Sweat, and Tears. And then my guitarist, James Pennebaker, also plays violin, wonderful multi-instrumentalist. You've heard him with Delbert McClinton and Leroy Parnell and Freddie Fender and a slew of amazing artists. And then my wonderful singers who have played and sung with all kinds of folks that are out of Nashville, as I am these days. Yeah,
that's amazing. It's almost like a Ringo Starr all-star band kind of set up with the guys you've got with you this time.
It really is. You know, I've been fortunate always to have this wonderful group of musicians. It changes from time to time, but David and I have been playing together for more than a decade now. And it's just a real gift, I think. I think some people come to this show thinking it's just this moment of nostalgia, and I think they come for that. But as soon as I walk out, there's something that happens on stage. There's something that connects them and myself almost immediately, where their memories all of a sudden become present. And I can't describe it, but I can tell you that it's really one of my favorite parts of what happens. And there doesn't need to be any music. It's just, I think people feel this sense of connection. And, these days, I think that's a real gift.
Definitely. And of course, the listeners are familiar with your father's music, but you've had a successful career yourself, for more than 30 years now, and you've really explored a lot of different genres and styles as well. I mean, you've got quite the catalog.
Sure. Well, I mean, I've always been a curious person. I'm interested in learning new styles, new genres, and have thrown myself into a lot of them. I started off, got my start first recording with Cowboy Jack Clement in Nashville when I was 17, and then B.B. King heard me, took me out on the road, and Ray Charles and Aretha and James Brown, all of these wonderful artists that really took me under their wing. And it was during those early years that I was signed and started recording. And my first album with John Simon and Bone Burnett, and just a wonderful band. And my next one with Keltner and Cooder and all of these David Hidalgo, wonderful players. And so, I've been really fortunate to have folks that like what I do enough to want to get together and make music and collaborate.
And I've read that you were, I guess, somewhat reluctant to perform your dad's music earlier in your career. What is it that made you decide to start mixing some of those songs into your set? Was it just the fact that you needed to forge your own path before you got there? Or?
Of course, yeah. I mean, I think it was hard enough to have an identity of my own with my last name, and being that I went under my full name as opposed to an alias or a band name or something. It was one of those things where I felt like I needed to prove myself, not just to the audience, but to myself. And it's hard to have that identity as the son of a well-known person. Also, I didn't feel there was any integrity in just capitalizing on the name or on the music. And so I did it the hard way, and for 30 years. And now that I've let the genie out of the bottle, so to speak, I feel like there's no putting it back in, and it's a kind of a beautiful thing, because I never expected the love that I received from the audience, the support, and everything and the people coming to 3, 4, 5 shows on a tour. I'm blown away, Dustin. I just feel like it's such a gift to be able to share both of my father's music and mine to an audience that is ready to be part of the show.
Sure. Again, AJ Croce's with us, and he's coming to Minneapolis October 3rd at the Pantages Theater. And AJ, I know you just released your latest album this year as well, Heart of the Eternal. Can you tell the listeners a bit about that?
Yeah, it's a pretty diverse, rootsy endeavor. There are all kinds of hints to different American classic genres. Obviously, soul music has always been in my blood, and as a piano player first, before I ever picked up guitar, that was kind of what I was writing. But I play a lot more guitar on this. Shooter Jennings produced it, and I've known Shooter for 20 years. 25 years before, more than that, before we ever worked together, because I had worked on a record with his father as a piano player. And so we just had this really immediate connection that was beautiful, some for obvious reasons and some for not. We just have similar personalities and love life.
And I've also read a new box set being released for your father's music, the Definitive Croce. And I mean, this is quite the the busy 2025 for you.
It is, man. It is. Yeah, this collection's really great. And the thing I like most about it, it's a box set of his 3 ABC albums, which were You Don't Mess Around with Jim, Life and Times, and I Got a Name. And they're all in one collection, and it's affordable. And that's the thing about this that has helped to sell it out every time, there's been a release of these things, is that I've really wanted to make sure with BMG that the albums and the music is affordable.
Well, AJ, I know you've got kids of your own. Do you see them being the next generation of Croces, maybe making music? Will this keep going?
My daughter, she just plays the radio, but my son, you never know, my son is an actor and writer in Los Angeles, so it's hard to say exactly. He's a natural musician, but I think he's shied away from it as a profession because he's seen my trials and tribulations. So I don't know that he's gone into an easier field by any stretch, but it's certainly different than what I did.
Excellent. Well, again, you're coming to Minneapolis here October 3rd, and you got the new album out and the new box set coming out. That's a lot for anybody. Is there anything else possibly that we missed here?
No, well, I've got the new single, which is on the Heart of the Eternal. It's just out. It was just released this last week, and it's called Complications of Love. So take a listen to that, and I may play a couple of those songs in this set. I want people to know that this show is energetic and full of life, and the stories are what is the secret sauce, I think, in this, and why so many people have come many times, because there's a connection between all of us when they hear the birth of a song, or they hear the early influences of where it came from, and it's a real experience. It's a show. It's not just me sitting up there covering my father's songs. It's something far greater.
Awesome, man. Again, thank you so much for your time, AJ. I'm digging the new album, and I'm looking forward to seeing you here at the Pantages Theater.
Great, Dustin. Well, I look forward to meeting you there. Take care, man.
And again, that was AJ Croce, and he'll be on the road here for the Croce Plays Croce, Where the Songbook Ends, the Story Begins tour. He's coming to Minneapolis to the Pantages Theater on October 3rd.